Vanessa, and today's video is for all you espresso rookies. I'm going to be explaining the different types of espresso machines, some things you need to consider before making an espresso, and some common misconceptions. Now, on to the video. Let's start by comparing manual, automatic, and capsule-based espresso machines. Manual espresso machines are your traditional machines. These machines require you to grind your own beans and tamp the grounds into the portafilter. On the other end of the spectrum, you have capsule-based machines. These machines take capsules, which you can find at many stores. These capsules contain pre-ground beans and can be ready at the push of a button. As for automatic espresso machines, these are in between manual and capsule-based. These machines still require beans, however they are automatically ground for you inside the machine and can also be made at the push of a button. Before you can make an espresso, let's talk about all the things you must consider. The first thing you must do before making an espresso is preheat your machine. Each machine has a different heating time, so be sure to check the manual. During this time, you can also heat up your espresso cups if your machine has a heating tray, or simply fill your espresso cups with hot water. If you do heat up your cups, be sure to place them right side up. This is because that is the first place the espresso hits. Also, if you heat them upside down, you run the risk of burning your lid. The temperature of your machine, and in turn your water, should be anywhere between 92 to 96 degrees Celsius. The type of water you put into your machine is something you should also be aware of. Filtered water is the way to go. For one, it is better for you, and it prevents anything from getting into your machine, possibly clogging it. Using tap water will cause calcium buildup. Choosing the best beans or grounds is also very important. Fresh is always best. Also, always choose dry beans over oily beans. A great option are Espresso Bella's 26 espresso beans. When buying beans for manual or automatic espresso machines, you want to be aware of the roast date. The closer the date to the time you're using the beans, the better. We roast a fresh batch of 26 espresso beans every 7 days, so you never run the risk of having old beans. If you're able to, try to grind your beans just before use. Also, avoid beans with an expiration date. This is different than a roasting date. If there is an expiration date on them, this means the roasting date is unknown. Depending on how coarse or fine you want your beans, you will get a different taste for each. However, grinding them to the size of table salt is a good place to start until you find what you like. For manual machines, tamping is your next step. After scooping the grounds into the portafilter, it is time to tamp. You want to try and find a tamp that is roughly the same size as your portafilter, so it fits right in and tamps the grounds all together. The goal when you tamp is to make sure your grounds are compact and leveled. If your grounds are not leveled, water will only run through the thinner part where there are less grounds. After you have mastered tamping, it is time for you to officially pour an espresso. The average for a 2 to 2.5 ounce shot should take about 20 to 30 seconds. However, each machine is different and it is all about personal preference. Also, remember not to over-extract. The ideal is a thick, golden crema. For the fancier drinks that involve a milk component, like a macchiato, a cappuccino, or a latte, you must be aware of the ratios of espresso to milk. A macchiato has a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 ounces of espresso to 1 ounce of milk for a 3-ounce cup. For a cappuccino, the ratio is 1 to 2, or 1 to 1 to 1. If you group milk and foam together, it is a 1 to 2 ratio, 2 parts milk, 1 part espresso, or 1/3 espresso, 1/3 milk, 1/3 foam, for the 1 to 1 to 1 ratio. As for a latte, the ratio is 1 to 3, 1 part espresso, and 3 or more parts milk. This is for an 8-ounce cup or larger. After you make your drink, don't forget to clean off the steam wand so it doesn't get clogged. To learn how to froth milk like a pro, click these videos. Many people believe that espressos are loaded with an extreme amount of caffeine and that it contains more than regular drip coffee. Well, that is actually incorrect. Espressos only contain 30 to 50 milligrams of caffeine, whereas an 8-ounce cup of coffee contains anywhere from 65 to 120 milligrams of caffeine. Another popular misconception is that espressos are bitter. If brewed properly, espressos are far from bitter. Depending on the bean, your espresso can have a chocolatey, nutty, or even fruity taste. However, an espresso can become bitter if it is brewed for too long. Espresso being called a type of bean is another misconception. You can use any bean to make an espresso because espresso is a brewing method. Whether you use Arabica or Robusto beans, it doesn't matter. You can use either of them to make an espresso. Well, I hope you all learned a little something, whether you're a beginner or not. Don't forget to watch our latest video and be sure to subscribe below.